Police Chief Paul McDonald says a plan to regionalize dispatch services across the Cape may not be such a good thing for the town of Barnstable. The Community Preservation Committee gives the first nod of approval for renovations to 2 historic Barnstable buildings. Plus, we have details about an opportunity for residents to go behind the scenes of Barnstable town government. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, December 17th, 2013. I'm Sarah Mannell. Barnstable County Sheriff Jim Cummings is moving forward with plans to regionalize dispatch services on Cape Cod. Cummings held a meeting with Cape Police and Fire Chiefs last week to discuss the plan. Barnstable Police Chief Paul McDonald was in attendance, and he says regionalizing dispatch calls may not be the best thing for the town of Barnstable.
First thing is to provide a better product to our residents. You know, if it provides a better service to them, if the calls come in smoothly, if we're able to get the crews there quicker or the fire apparatus quicker, it has to be a better service. And then a byproduct of that, would we be saving any money? Part of their pitch was, on last Tuesday, was if you go to Regional Emergency Communication Center, you will be saving X number of dollars. You know, and we've looked at this. I mean, we've been looking at this for the past 3 years, and we looked at every possible scenario. Barnstable will not be saving any money whatsoever. In fact, it will probably cost us a little more money because they're basing all of their models that anybody who currently has a dispatch center will be shutting that dispatch center down, and the stations will go into what they call a dark station, probably 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where you just shut the station down and you only have the cruisers on the road. Barnstable is way too busy for that. We could never possibly do that. Our lockup facility is directly adjacent to where our dispatch center is. Our walk-in volume of traffic between evening hours and even after midnight is quite substantial, so we have to have a police officer there to deal with that when that occurs. So there will be no savings to the town of Barnstable, and then we have to look at, are we going to get a better service to the community? And that's the part we're still wrestling with. And like you said earlier, regionalization does benefit the smaller communities. I'm not so sure it benefits the larger communities, and we are certainly by far the largest in southeastern Massachusetts.
McDonald says at this point he would not recommend the town participate in a regional dispatch center like the one proposed.
Right now, we're not on board at all because we are not turning such an important part of our operation over to the Sheriff's Department. We originally, the police chiefs and the fire chiefs unanimously all voted to move forward. Not that we wanted to go to a regional emergency communications center, but the fact that we all wanted to go forward and take a look at it and see if it can provide a better service for our community. If so, we would certainly take a look at it. But I'm certainly not willing to turn my operation, this operation, over to the Sheriff's Department. We're talking about putting something of a governance board with the police chiefs, the fire chiefs, and the sheriffs on that governing board with oversight of this regional emergency communication center, particularly the day-to-day operations of it. But last Tuesday, as it was quoted in the paper by Sheriff Perry, you know, he specifically said that the Cape Chiefs and fire chiefs have to understand that the day-to-day operation is going to be run by the Sheriff's Department, and that is totally unacceptable.
Right now, the Sheriff's Office is finishing a feasibility study and site selection process. Plans to renovate 2 historic buildings in town move forward. The Community Preservation Committee gave the green light for renovations to be made to the Payne Black House and Burgess House. This means further planning on those projects can now move forward. Town architect John Juros talked about the focus of renovations at the Payne Black House.
We have identified certain, what I call minimum stabilization issues, dealing with site improvements, some tree removals, shingle replacement, gutters, downspouts, exterior trim, wood shingle roof replacement, chimney pointing, basement moisture resolution, and electrical service, and some soft costs for $104,700. That particular building is in the it's been listed in the Mass Cultural Resource listing here, and it's within the West Barnstable Historic District of the National Register of Historic Places as a contributing structure. And so the attempt here is to stabilize the exterior of the building, lest it fall into disrepair and be demolished.
Juros also discussed what renovations will need to be made at the Burgess House and barn.
All that we're looking for at this point is the replacement of the roof of that building, and therefore we're at $51,000 construction and soft cost. This particular building was submitted by the Village Association to be listed on the National Register of Historic Places, subject to approval. It's a significant local historic structure, and we would appreciate some funding to move forward with the replacement. That roof would be replaced with red cedar shingles. It's very obvious, so close to the residential road that passes by, that it just begs that this building be restored as a historic structure.
The committee also voted to allow planning for renovation projects to several recreation fields across Barnstable. Juros talked about that in greater detail at last night's meeting as well.
And they would like us to engage a consultant to specifically be looking at Lopes Field in Hyannis, the Bay Lane Elementary School fields, Osterville Bay fields, and the West Barnstable School, among others. And the attempt here would be to put this together as some sort of comprehensive program to establish a need, to establish scope and budget, and to put that together with some meaningful way so that we can move it forward within the CIP process.
And we, of course, will keep you up to date as these projects progress. The 21st session of Inside Barnstable Town Government begins in February. The 11-week course highlights the various functions of town government in a fun and educational way. Facilitator Sue French says the Academy provides an interactive learning experience and includes a bus tour of all 7 villages.
Well, we describe it as an overview of basically where your tax dollars go. We cover all the municipal departments, and there are many, a lot that people don't even think about or know about. We go to the fire department, we go to the airport, police services, senior services, health department, your DPW. It's really the inner workings, and it gives an overview of the missions of each department, the challenges, and their accomplishments. And there's a lot of purposes we think the course serves. It's also, it shows you how these departments within the town interact and how they depend on each other. Sometimes being on the outside, it's kind of hard to see what the real inner workings are. Also, it gives a clear view of the budget of each department, which a lot of taxpayers are very interested and concerned about. And the most important mission that we've noticed in the last few years is volunteerism. People want to know how they can be more active in their town government, and it gives people a chance to volunteer with the town, to be on a board or a commission, to be on a town council, to be just another extra set of hands helping in a department. And most people that take the course come out of there feeling that their money's well spent and that they have a role in their town. They can participate in some big or small way.
Facilitator Meg Loughran says the course can also help residents know where to turn for help with any issues.
People have a face to put with a name. They know who to call if there's a problem on their street at DPW. You know, they know what regulatory services is at 200 Main with all of the different things. So I think that that's another important piece too. And you know, one thing people have asked Sue and I repeatedly, aren't you tired of doing this after 21 times? And what keeps it interesting for us is that, you know, the town is dynamic. Things keep changing, and every time we hear a manager present, yes, it's basically the same, but there are new issues that each department's dealing with, and that's good to know as an informed citizen.
The program is free of charge and class size is limited. You can visit the town's website for an application or call the town manager's office. Classes are led by town staff. They're held every Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 9 p.m. in various locations throughout town. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannell.